thinking about history and her story and their story, what happened in our family is we became foster parents in 2007. And so I had just, oh gosh, it's so hard to explain, but I had finished a musical and then I got hired to do a TV show, and I had to travel all around the world, and there was a death in my husband's family, and it was just all like very crazy. And so we called, you know, docs, the sort of, well, now it's family services, to say, hey, we think it's time that we become foster parents. And it happened very quickly. And we very quickly, the stork dropped off two young men. And this was in 2007. So we took to it, you know, as best as we could. We were very excited. It was all very wonderful. And in 2009, because we knew when our kids came to us, we knew that the birth parents weren't able to look after them, and there wasn't going to be a reconciliation with the birth parents. The family court made the decision slightly afterwards. But anyway, I don't want to get too far into that. So in 2009, we were coming home from my sister-in-law's house, and we heard on the news that New South Wales had made it legal for same-sex couples to adopt children. And these were our non-biological children. And so it was so strange because we knew this was coming, and, you know, Clover Moore had been advocating for it for more than 10 years. And then all of a sudden it was true. And we were like, what? And so we reached out to the department and we said, you know, what do we do? And so, long story short, in 5 years from becoming foster parents, pretty much just 5.5 years, the kids need to be in your care for 5 years. And of course, you'd look at corridors, all that sort of things. It became a possibility for us to adopt our children, which we did, which is kind of amazing. And I was doing, this was in, it came through in February 2012, and I was doing the musical Annie, which was kind of great. And so what you might not know is, if you are an adoptive parent, that the original birth certificate, because it's a legal document, it sort of gets filed. And then there's a new legal document, which becomes like the official birth certificate. And that names us as the parents. And so what happened was we went to birth death marriages to get a new birth certificate for our children, because they had a new legal name. And there was also information about their siblings, because we're not the biological parents. So there was just some things that needed to be changed on the birth certificate. So we went in, you know, and we sort of said, hey, we need to, you know, here's our adoption orders, you know, we're adoptive parents, we need to get new birth certificates for the kids. And they were sort of like, oh, okay. And so I was like, so, you know, it says mother and father, so like, do we just cross it out and just put parent 1 and parent 2? And they were like, yeah, I think that's the right thing to do. So we sort of filled out all the forms. And then they were like, so can you come back in 2 days' time? And we were like, okay. They said, yeah, because we have to change the template for the birth certificate. And we said, what do you mean? They said, well, the templates that we have are mother, father, and mother, mother. We don't have a father, father template for this birth certificate. So I said, okay. So we went away, and then we came back, and they had changed the template, and they put all of our information on there. But on the bottom of the birth certificate in New South Wales, the information that's provided to birth death marriages is by the parents. Usually that's by the birth parents. In our situation, that wasn't able to happen. So we had provided the information for the new birth certificate. And so at the top it said, you know, I don't know if it said parent 1 or father 1. I think it said father and father. But then for the referee, for all the birth information, on the bottom, it said mother, and they put my husband's name. And we didn't read that because we were just looking at the top of the birth certificate. So we got the amended birth certificate, a legal document, and we took it away and we took it home. And when we got home, we sort of noticed that it actually named my husband as the mother. So then we had to call back birth death and marriages and say, so thank you for, you know, all your work you've done so far, but there's still one administrative mistake on the bottom of the birth certificate. So we brought it back, and the strange thing was that the guy who, like, you know, had signed it, like, you know, the official person, was the, like, the uncle or the father, maybe the father of one of our neighbors, like of like our really good friends. So it was this really strange thing that, like, we actually knew the guy. So we went back in, and so that birth certificate lasted for about 24 hours as a legal document, which named my husband as the mother. And then we went back and we actually got it, you know, with all the correct, you know, gender assignments and correct titles of who the parents were in this, on this legal document. And but of course, you know, and that all goes on to file, and so that doesn't exist anymore. But of course, we have copies of it because, you know, if there's ever an argument, it's so, like, you know, old school. But you, like, when I came out, you know, people used to always be like, oh, you know, in your relationship, who's the man, who's the woman? And so now we have, like, the birth certificate that sort of unequivocally says who was the father and who was the mother. Although, although we share those responsibilities equally.